The situation between Tyson Fury, Dana White, and Frank Warren keeps getting interesting. Now, as you guys know, Tyson Fury turned up in the US recently and claimed that he has a deal with Dana White. And then we heard Eddie Hearn had his say about this, but then people started asking the question, where is Frank Warren and what has Frank Warren got to say about all of this? But then people even started asking the more important question, has Tyson Fury betrayed Frank Warren to join Dana White? Now, there was an interesting conversation on TalkSport between Simon Jordan, Callum Smith, and Spencer Oliver. And I think it was really interesting, some of the points they made in this video. So I'm going to flip my screen. Let's have a listen to what was said in this video, and then we can react to it further. Have a listen to this.
Spence, is there a debate in your minds, in the same way there was a debate that we had about Conor Benn and loyalty? Is there a debate that Tyson owes, if what we're looking at, and I've got a different view slightly on it, but if what we're looking at is that Tyson's batting his eyes at Turki al-Sheikh and Zufar, which is one and the same thing ostensibly, is there an argument about loyalty here? Because I don't think Frank has steered him wrong at any time in his career, really, has he?
No, listen, I think that Frank Warren has done a great job with him since 2018, since the comeback. But you have to go back deeper than that, actually, Simon. This goes back to the Mick Hennessy days. Tyson Fury turned pro with Mick Hennessy in 2008. He took him on the road. He wasn't getting the opportunities. He wasn't getting the TV deals. Mick Hennessy stuck by him, took him out to Dusseldorf. We saw what happened there. One of the biggest upsets of all time when he beat Klitschko, a big underdog at the time, gets him the world title, and then all the complications come in with the UCAD, with the UCAD issues that were going on, and they stuck by him through that, and he had all those problems going on in the background.
You mean he failed a drugs test?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You see, this is my issue with Spencer Oliver. He's sometimes very, very dishonest. He doesn't want to tell the truth. Like, you can see there, he has to say that Tyson Fury failed a drugs test. And that's the truth. He failed a drugs test. If it was any other fighter, we will be screaming, saying that he failed a drugs test. Tyson Fury failed a drugs test after the Fury fight. And Spencer Oliver is not truthful enough, or it's not open enough to say he failed a drugs test. And Simon, picked up on it and said, yes, he failed a drugs test. You have to say he failed a drugs test. Like, he's trying to skirt around the issue and not mention the fact that Fury failed a drugs test. He did. And that's the truth. And that's my problem with certain people in the media when it comes to these guys reporting on boxing. They don't want to say the truth. Like, is Tyson Fury paying these guys to protect him? Like, he failed a drugs test. Just say the truth, Spencer. Stop trying to, skirt around and say something that, politically correct. He failed a drugs test, just as many fighters have done over the years. And we've reported on it very clearly and very honestly. And that's what Spencer had to say. So, look, let's carry on with this video, but that is just very dishonest, and he's just trying to skirt around it, and I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, and they were sticking with all of that. They stuck with him through that. And then Tyson Fury jumps ship, goes with Frank Warren, and the rest is history. Frank Warren brings him back in a couple of warm-up fights, the Deontay Wilder fights, and he goes on and creates his own career. Frank Warren done a great job with him, but it all started from Mick Hennessy. But what we learned through that process was that maybe there is no loyalty with Tyson Fury. It's about himself and what he wants and the best opportunity for him.
Wasn't that the old saying, though? And I'm sure it was Frank that was one of the first to use it. If you want loyalty, buy a dog.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, the reason why I was saying before, Simon, about whether he may keep Frank on board is if there's any hint whatsoever of Frank Warren or Queensberry still being in contract or still having a good faith thing there, then it will end up in a litigious situation. It will go to court because they won't probably stand for that. And I always assume from the outside looking at the relationship looks good between Queensberry and Tyson. I assumed again he may stick with that. But listen, we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure.
As I said, some really good points made in that video, apart from Spencer Oliver trying to protect Tyson Fury when he failed a drugs test. But, the conversation about loyalty and Frank Warren, working with Tyson Fury after the failed drugs test, after he was ballooned up in weight and he wasn't boxing and he was depressed and he was this and that. And then, Tyson Fury came back to boxing, and Frank Warren, he stuck by Tyson Fury. And as you can see, they had a really good relationship where they were close. And even when Tyson Fury went to fight in the US against Deontay Wilder and a few, Otto Wallin as well, Frank Warren stuck by Tyson Fury. And Frank Warren was Tyson Fury's promoter in the UK although Bob Arum was the one doing more of the promotion when it comes to Tyson Fury in the US, Frank Warren was still with Tyson Fury. Now, people would argue that a lot of promoters did not want to attach themselves with Tyson Fury because he had failed the drugs test. He was coming off, not being in boxing for a very long time. He was overweight, depression, or all these things that he talks about outside of the ring, that you didn't know what sort of or what kind of Tyson Fury you were going to get, whether he's still a good boxer, whether he still got something there. But I think Frank Warren believed in Tyson Fury and he wanted to give Tyson Fury a chance. Of course, he's a promoter. He's a very experienced promoter, Frank Warren. So he knows that it's a gamble. If it pays off, he's going to make a lot of money. And I can assure you that Frank Warren has made a lot of money with Tyson Fury. And so has Tyson Fury made good name for himself after coming back from the hiatus and not being in boxing. So the conversation about loyalty and, whether Tyson Fury is betraying, Frank Warren and, jumping ship to join, Dana White. And as you can see here, Dana White, Tyson Fury and, his friend Donald Trump having a conversation together. You could see that Tyson Fury is very comfortable in this situation. He knows that, these guys have a lot of money in the pocket, and Dana White is now flashing money about here and there, trying to, upset the whole thing about boxing. We saw, Dana White poached Conor Benn from Eddie Hearn, and that was a massive news in boxing. And then I think exactly what Dana White did with Conor Benn, I think he's trying to do the same with Tyson Fury for Frank Warren. But the conversation of whether Fury is betraying Frank Warren is something that I want you guys to get in the comment section and let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you think this is a betrayal, or do you think this is just a business situation here. Tyson Fury has every right to go and sign with whoever he wants to. I think he does. Fury has every right to do that, of course. But is there loyalty in boxing? Does Tyson Fury have the decency to stay loyal to Frank Warren? Should he have the decency, or should he think about himself, the money he will make, and, jump ship and join Dana White and, even Donald Trump and all these people in the US and make more money? Now, the Joshua fight becomes a question here, because if Frank Warren is not part of it, right, and he joins Dana White, then the Joshua fight becomes a problem, because Dana White is not very keen in working with Eddie Hearn. So then all of a sudden, there's a friction there. There will be back and forth between those guys because they don't want to work with each other. They don't like each other. So the complications that comes with Tyson Fury jumping ship from Frank Warren to work with Dana White is massive. And the fact that the Joshua fight is in negotiation even puts a lot of problems out there for them to discuss and for them to find solutions when it comes to making this fight. Because I think it's easier to make the Joshua versus Fury fight when Fury is with Frank Warren to when he is with Dana White. Because the whole idea of Dana White and Zuffa Boxing is that they want to get rid of all sanctioning bodies. They just want to work with themselves only. They do not want to partner with any promotional companies or any sanctioning bodies. Dana White wants to monopolize boxing. He wants to do what he does in the UFC with boxing, but it's a bit more difficult to do the things he does in the UFC in boxing, because boxing is a much more established sport and there are a lot of players in boxing that have a lot of say. So Dana White cannot be the only person that says something and then everybody follows. So there's a big problem here. But the question in this video is Tyson Fury betraying and jumping ship from Frank Warren to join Dana White, which I think is going to bring a lot of problems. But one thing that I must say is, as we know Frank Warren is a very smart promoter. He's a very smart businessman and he's been in the industry for a very long time. And one thing we know about Frank Warren is if he sees that a contractual obligation has been breached, Frank Warren will sue. And we've seen Frank Warren sue a lot of people in boxing. He sued his own fighters before. He sued promoters before. He sued other people before. Frank Warren is not scared to go to court. Is not scared to put up a fight. So if Tyson Fury is walking away with any, blemish or with any contractual obligation being breached in the contract between himself and Frank Warren, best believe that Frank Warren is going to go out swinging. And I think that is something that we might see here. There will be a lot of lawsuits being thrown about all over the place because Frank Warren is not going to go down without swinging. And we know that Frank Warren recently, allegedly, wanted to sue Turki Al-Sheikh and Dana White for doing something that was not in a contract that he signed before when Turki Sheikh was entering into boxing and wanted to do a lot of things in boxing. So Frank Warren is very smart, as I said. He knows what he's doing and he has the appetite to sue people and take them to court. So Tyson Fury might put himself in danger here if he's not adhering to everything that is in the contract between himself and Frank Warren. But guys, this is all really interesting. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know what impact it's going to have on the Joshua fight. But so far, it doesn't look good. But guys, get in the comment section and let me know what you think about Tyson Fury joining Dana White potentially and what that means for Frank Warren. Do you think that Tyson Fury has betrayed Frank Warren? Get in the comment section and let me know what you think about it.